from our Auckland Park studios, this is Prime News on SABC 3 and in your top stories at this hour.
Have received notice from the United States, a notice which we are still in discussions with them over.
First up, President Cyril Ramaphosa has confirmed that the United States has reconsidered its stance on boycotting the G20 Leaders Summit, which takes place this weekend at Nasrec in Johannesburg.
I want to suggest to you that an oath is meaningless to you.
With a lens of scrutiny.
Madlanga Commission chairperson, retired Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, came out strong against Brown Mokgotzi's self-admitted lies, suggesting that an oath is meaningless to Mokgotzi.
The MPC decided to reduce the policy rate by 25 basis points to 6.75% with effect from the 20th of November.
And the Reserve Bank's Monetary Policy Committee has resolved to reduce the repo rate by 25 basis points with effect from today. A very good evening to you and welcome to Prime News on SABC 3. My name is Beki Mutumomolete, your host for this evening. Tonight, Africa takes center stage and we are bringing you the stories that will shape the continent's destiny and so much more. Buckle up for a riveting evening of insight and impact. Let's get straight into your leads. We launch this bulletin with news that came in this afternoon. President Cyril Ramaphosa has confirmed that the United States has reconsidered its stance on boycotting the G20 Leaders Summit, which takes place this weekend at Nasrec in Johannesburg. Speaking at the trilateral leaders meeting between South Africa and the European Union at the Sandton Convention Centre, Ramaphosa revealed that Pretoria is still in talks with Washington to find common ground on the matter. This follows earlier remarks by US President Donald Trump, who announced that his country would not attend the summit, citing concerns over South Africa's land reform policy, describing it as discriminatory against white Afrikaners and even labeling it as genocidal.
Received notice from the United States, a notice which we are still in discussions with them over, about a change of mind about participating in one shape, form or other in the summit. So the discussions are still ongoing. This comes really at the late hour before the summit begins. And so therefore we do need to engage in those types of discussions to see how practical it is and what it finally really means.
More on this, India has finally confirmed that its Prime Minister Narendra Modi will attend the summit this weekend.
Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be in Johannesburg this weekend when the G20 summit gets underway. That confirmation coming from the Indian Ministry of External Affairs. Experts say it's a huge shot in the arm for host nation South Africa because it'll help keep the focus of this summit very much on issues facing developing countries in the global south, instead on the absence of a few world leaders. India's Foreign Ministry says Prime Minister Modi will put forth India's perspectives on the G20 agenda. He plans to speak in all three sessions being held, including on issues of inclusive development and building a climate-resilient world. New Delhi has also welcomed the fact that this is the fourth consecutive G20 summit being held in the global south, something experts say highlights a continued shift towards developing country leadership at such forums. The issues facing developing nations and a need to make global leadership platforms more inclusive was a key theme of India's own G20 presidency 2 years ago. South Africa's High Commissioner to India, Ambassador Anil Suklal, has said earlier in the week that the two countries are leading nations of the global south and as such their priorities are completely aligned. Neha Punia, SABC News, New Delhi.
In addition, South Africa and the European Union have taken a major step to strengthen economic ties, signing a memorandum of understanding on minerals and metals.
Today we have an opportunity to take stock of the progress that we have made, and particularly over just this past year, but also take stock in the overall relationship between South Africa and the European Union. We've characterized this relationship as a mature relationship, a relationship that is predictable, that is reliable, and that is based on trust. And we are very pleased as South Africa to have a partner like the EU.
Today we also signed our MOU on minerals and metals, the value chain partnership. We need these inputs to power the clean energy transition, both here and in Europe. So the future of our economies depends on a fair and on reliable supply chains, and my emphasis is on reliable supply chains.
And the G20 meeting is a great opportunity to gather people from all around the world to come here and to sit at table, to discuss, to listen each other, to bring new proposals, to try to tackle the global challenges that we need to face together.
Still on your G20 news, Africa Intertrade has been the focus at the B20 summit in Sandton, Johannesburg, amongst other issues. The summit serves as a platform for shaping the global economic agenda, particularly in the context of Africa's role in the world economy.
A very significant part of the mandate of the AFCFTA and the African Union in general is to reverse that trend and to change that pattern, and to focus on value addition, transforming raw materials into finished products here on the African continent.
This is a moment of great significance for our continent. It is also a moment of great opportunity, I'd like to believe. It is an opportunity for Africa to assert itself and to assert its place in global affairs.
The Finance and Infrastructure Task Force looked at what the problem is, where we find ourselves in the world. There is a threat to the multilateral trading system, which means if things continue the trend that they are, whether it's policy shifts or tariffs, it will become more and more costly and difficult for SMEs to operate and to remain in business.
When we return, the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department has confirmed heightened security measures around the Nasrec Expo Centre ahead of this weekend's G20 Leaders Summit. See you after the break. Welcome back to Prime News on 3. Spokesperson for the Johannesburg Metropolitan Police Department, Xolani Fihla, has confirmed heightened security measures around the Nasrec Expo Centre ahead of this weekend's G20 Leaders Summit. Fihla said that the Golden Highway near Nasrec has been closed since Monday to manage traffic as global leaders arrive, with additional lockdowns in surrounding areas expected from 3:30 p.m. earlier this afternoon.
We can confirm that stringent measures have been put in, and especially within the Nasrec area, where we are expecting a hard lockdown to be implemented. We already know that Golden Highway next to the Johannesburg Expo Centre has been completely closed off. This is since Monday, but we're also expecting some closures, and especially on Rancho Road. That's on the northern portion, which will be closed off from the N1 towards Nasrec Road. And of course, then the southern portion will be converted into a dual carriage. And this is to allow contra-traffic flow. And this is to accommodate residents of Amonde View so that they have access of the residential area. But of course, we're also keeping a close eye and a lookout for any protests that might be happening within the city of Johannesburg. I know that starting from the 21st, that's on Friday, tomorrow, and up until Sunday, we have 7 planned protests, marches and pickets within the Nasrec and Sandton area.
Johannesburg Executive Mayor Dada Morero says that the city is ready to host the historic event this weekend. Speaking at the launch of the Homecoming exhibition, which is part of the G20 cultural program, Morero commended various teams for turning things around despite minor hiccups.
We're a great city. There could be challenges there and there consistently, but we are turning them around. Our guests are safe. Our guests will be in the right place. They will have a very nice place to stay in. Nazareth, it's at its best in terms of where the meetings are going to happen. The content of the conference is very important. It touches on issues of solidarity, which are key about us creating world peace and creating a better world for all.
After the break, Madlanga Commission chairperson has come out strong against controversial businessman Brown Mogotsi's self-admitted lies, suggesting that an oath is meaningless to Mogotsi. And you are back with Prime News on 3. Madlanga Commission chairperson, retired Justice Mbuyiseli Madlanga, has come out strong against controversial businessman Brown Mogotsi's self-admitted lies, suggesting that an oath is meaningless to Mogotsi. This after cross-examination revealed the series of lies Mogotsi admits to telling in his version of events. Mogotsi, the alleged associate of Police Minister Sanzo Mchunu, who is currently on a leave of absence, however, claims that he lied during the execution of his duties as a so-called contact agent.
I have a few.
Brown Mogotsi found himself backed up in a corner after he admitted to lying in a sworn statement in order to obtain a Section 204 warrant to record an informant. This, coupled with a long list of flaws in his version that runs the risk of rendering his testimony as self-evidently absurd and, plainly put, implausible. The self-admitted lie, however, had the Commission's bench viewing Mogotsi in a different light.
I want to suggest to you, Mr. Mogotsi, and hopefully, and depending on the answer that you give, this is the last point I'm making at this stage. I want to suggest to you that an oath is meaningless to you, and I have no reason to believe that the one you took before us here means anything to you. Do you want to comment on that?
No comment, Commissioner.
Mogotsi was further caught up in more alleged lies as the co-commissioners approached other elements of his evidence with a lens of scrutiny, such as his claims of being an Umkhonto weSizwe operative in the 90s, which form part of a greater claim that he is a quote-unquote contact agent.
Do you know that Umkhonto weSizwe was disbanded in 1993?
Yes, I'm aware.
Yes. So, as a 13-year-old, you would have been an Umkhonto weSizwe operative in the SDU in 1993, as a 13-year-old.
No, I was not 13 years old. I know you, Commissioner, you are bringing it on the basis of my birthday era. I was not actually born in 1979. I was born in 1977.
So that's another lie in your affidavit when you said you were born in August 1979. That's another lie.
No, Commissioner, it's not a lie. Commissioner.
Mogotsi got caught up again in his claim that he did not know what he was referring to when he said, quote-unquote, we have got a breakthrough to Minister Mchunu via signal message. This as Chief Evidence Leader Advocate Matthew Chaskelson SC's cross-reference of Mogotsi's messages to Mchunu and his concurrent messages to alleged cartel member Vusumuzi Kat Matlala pointed to a different conclusion, which was an alleged plot to have Lieutenant General Dumsani Khumalo and Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi arrested for defeating the ends of justice.
You see, Mr. Matlala, what I'm going to put to you is that it is absolutely clear from these chats that what you and the Minister were discussing on 23 and 24 December was the possible arrest of PKTT members by IPID in relation to the events during the 6 December operation at Mr. Matlala's house.
No, that was not the discussion.
The hearings continue on Tuesday. Kani Mapanga, SABC News, Pretoria.
Meanwhile, the Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating the same allegations has heard fresh details about the controversial 360 million SABC contract linked to businessman Vusimuzi Cat Madlanga. Testifying before the committee, SABC Divisional Commissioner for Supply Chain Management, Lieutenant General Mulifi Fani, said the police service relies heavily on formally recorded information during procurement processes.
As I've indicated earlier, I had no knowledge of Vusimuzi Madlanga. I may have heard in the news that there's issues at Tembisa, but it for me personally, and probably for other members of the committee, that for us to link him at that time to Tembisa did not happen, and for a reason that it did not appear to us at that time that this person is the person that is being wanted. But importantly to note is that we rely on information we get from CST. The framework that governs restriction of suppliers in government clearly indicates that a department or entity that has experienced any anomaly with regards to the supplier, either in terms of crime committed or in terms of performance of the supplier, initiate the process for restriction. It would appear that, based on the CST report, that such a process was never embarked upon by any department, resulting in this individual or this company being cleared on CSD not to have been restricted.
An early Christmas present for indebted South Africans as the Reserve Bank cut the repo rate by 25 basis points. The rate cut brings the repo rate to 6.75% and the prime lending rate, the benchmark rate which banks charge borrowers, will be 10.25%. This will put more money into the pockets of indebted consumers as they'll be paying a bit less on their debt, while those with savings will get more interest for their money in the bank.
For indebted consumers, as they will get some relief on their debt repayment premiums. The Reserve Bank says this is as inflation remains contained. This is despite an acceleration to 3.6% in October, driven mainly by temporary pressures from meat, vegetables and fuel.
The MPC decided to reduce the policy rate by 25 basis points to 6.75% with effect from the 20th of November. The decision was unanimous. Members agreed there was scope now to make the policy stance less restrictive in the context of an improved inflation outlook.
Economists say consumer spending will be supported by the lower inflation and interest rate environment.
Our models show that the maximum impact on consumer spending of the interest rate cuts in this cycle will be next year. This will then counteract the reduced tailwind from low inflation. Consumer spending will likely also be boosted by a wealth effect from stock market gains. There will likely be further interest rate relief next year, but it cannot be taken for granted that this will be at consecutive meetings.
South Africa's growth forecast for this year was slightly revised higher to 1.3%. The MPC has stressed the urgency of sustaining macroeconomic and structural reforms to boost potential growth. Gloria Sifakomusi, SABC News, Johannesburg.
Tonight's news is tomorrow's history. We have given you the headlines and now it's up to you to write the future. Join us next time on Prime News on SABC3. From myself, Becky, and the team, stay ahead. We now take you to where science meets the skies. Your forecast is up next. Take care.
A very good evening to you. Let's take a look at all your weather details for this evening. Clear skies expected in the Western Cape and the Northern Cape, as well as most of the Eastern Cape. But as you head through the central parts and western parts of South Africa, expect some cloud cover and raining conditions. We've got scattered showers for the eastern parts of the Free State across the provincial border in towards Mpumalanga, whilst isolated showers remain possible for Gauteng as well as the Northwest Province this evening. Ahead towards tomorrow's forecast, Friday sees scattered rainfall in and around Gauteng, with isolated showers for the rest west of the eastern parts and onto that eastern coastline. Partly cloudy skies remain for the majority of the Free State, including Bloemfontein. Sunny and hot conditions expected in the Western Cape northwards towards the Northern Cape on Friday. Southeasters tomorrow up to about 40 kilometers an hour. Now on to some alerts for this evening. Be on the lookout for the potential of severe thunderstorms through the shade of yellow, whilst hot, dry and windy conditions could lead to fault fires in the Western Cape. Now ahead towards tomorrow, similar conditions with those severe thunder showers possibilities shifting northwards now, focused in southern Botswana and parts of Limpopo as well as the Northwest Province. Hot, dry and windy in the Western Cape could lead to fault fires. Please be on the lookout for that. Vredendal dropping to 15 degrees overnight, with Cape Town down to 17, Gqeberha down to 16 in the Eastern Cape, Bloemfontein 16 in the Free State, Johannesburg dipping to 13, warming up on Friday afternoon to a maximum of 26. Low 30s expected in the Northwest Province with scattered showers likely through the afternoon. Mbombela in the mid-20s at 24, Richards Bay up to 28, Gqeberha 23 tomorrow, and Cape Town up to a maximum of 27. Now ahead towards Saturday's forecast, we've got very hot conditions expected in the west of South Africa, but partly cloudy skies remaining for the central parts in towards the northeast, where temperatures are expected to be cool along that eastern escarpment and showers likely. That's it from me. Enjoy your evening.